I'm Claudette James from KZN Wildlife, and my talk today is going to be about exploring the pet trade in KZN. A bit of background information. Traditionally, pets have been known to be dogs, cats, fish, etc. But over the years, this has changed with people having pets such as lizards, tortoises, spiders, etc. With many of these species being exotic, another concern is that the commercial trade in exotic animals has gone relatively unchecked in KwaZulu-Natal in the recent years. With that being said, it introduces new concerns in terms of monitoring, as exotic species can be invasive when released into the environment. The basis of the study was to assess which pet species are currently being sold across KZN. With this information, it will set the basis for future monitoring plans and to ensure that the rules and regulations are being followed in terms of the NEMBA regulated species. The methods. Initially, a Google-based search was carried out to identify pet shops across KZN. The searches were carried out using keywords such as pet shops in KZN, pet shops in Pietermaritzburg, and the various other cities and towns in KZN. A spreadsheet was then compiled of all the pet shops found in the web-based search. Another spreadsheet of taxa of interest was compiled, which included mammals, birds, reptiles, and invertebrates. Pet shops were physically visited to assess the pets that they had available for sale. From this, the information was fed back into the spreadsheets with the taxa of interest. This is a map showing all the shops that were found and visited. And as you can see from the map, most of the shops were centered in the large urban areas of the country, of the province, such as Pietermaritzburg and Durban. This graph shows the number of pet shops which were found and visited. There was a total of 60 shops which were found, and of the 60, 35 were operational. 18 were not found, and the others either sold fish only or were feed wholesalers. And another one, which was an interesting one, was someone's house, which was alarming. Which was alarming because the lady didn't allow us to go in. So we didn't know the conditions which the animals were being kept in. So that will be interesting for a follow-up. With another one of the findings was the percentage of the different animal groups found. So the pie chart shows the different animals found during the assessment. The majority of the animals were mammals at 47%, followed by birds at 32%, and then invertebrates and reptiles at 14% and 17% respectively. There was a total of 29 species identified, and as you can see on the table, the different number of species in each animal group. These are some of the animals which were found at the pet shops. Many of the animals were in proper storage facilities and looked healthy, and a few shops had some unhealthy looking birds which had some bare areas without feathers on their chest. And again, these are some of the animals that were found in the pet shops. One of the concerns on this slide would be the birds that are not in a cage, which are free to fly and could go out into the environment and have potential to become invasive species. Permitted species are species that have the potential to be alien invasive species. Thus, the permit requires one to follow strict rules and regulations in terms of having species as a pet. Such rules can include no breeding of the species to put the offspring up for sale without following proper protocols or releasing the species out into the wild. So basically, permits protect biodiversity. Some species of concern in terms of alien invasive species. So both the common myna and the rose-ring parakeet were initially captive species that were released into the environment and form new populations and have become alien invasive species. Problems associated with these species: the common myna is aggressive towards indigenous birds. It competes for resources with indigenous birds. It eats the eggs and attacks the fledglings of other birds. With the rose-ring parakeet, it's noisy. It causes damage to agricultural crops. They compete for nesting sites and resources with indigenous birds, and they may carry diseases. The red-eared sliders pose a threat to indigenous terrapins, and through disease and parasite transmission, and they also threaten biodiversity in the wetlands. This is just a map to depict the increase of the common myna in the KZN area. The lower map depicts the difference between suburb 1 and suburb 2, with the orange areas depicting the increase in reporting rates. So basically depicting the increase in the species, and this is an example of the common myna. Some concerns in the pet trade industry. Research from colleagues at UKZN have shown that pet shop owners release species into the environment to avoid fines, thus compromising our biodiversity, as these species have the potential to be alien invasive species. Some recommended management interventions for trade of exotic species is to educate people in the pet trade industry about the implications of releasing exotic species into the environment, do some regular checkups of pets to ensure that the rules and regulations are being obeyed, especially with permitted species. A way forward from this research would be to explore the online trade industry to ensure an effective control in the pet trade industry.